mean to really be authentic at work? Yes, it is about being your true self and kind of bringing that to the work that you do. But it's also about how being real can really transform your professional journey. By the way, welcome to my channel. Whether you're a loyal subscriber or you just stumbled upon this video, I'm glad that you are here and chose this time today. I'm Tara, a productivity and success coach who helps high achievers kill it at work without sacrificing the people or things that they love. On this channel, I teach strategies for balancing it all with confidence and clarity. So if any of that resonates with you, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on a future video. Today, we're getting into the nitty-gritty of authenticity and how it can really shape your career growth. We're going to talk about some practical strategies to help you find work that feels true to who you are. All right, let's break it down because authenticity is not just about being genuine. It's also about having the ability to bring your full self, your true self, into the work that you're doing. It's having an environment where you feel comfortable to be who you are authentically and genuinely, but to want to bring your full self into work. I always tell the folks that I work with that you can never cross the door into your office and leave who you are behind. That is at least not what I want for a work environment. I want a work environment that welcomes who you are and your full self into the job, because that's when I know that you'll be aligned with the work that you're doing. When you have that alignment, something magical happens for your career growth. And that is what I'm hoping that we get from this video today. And being authentic means that you're going to be more productive because you're making decisions that are true to your core. And so you spend less time second guessing or questioning whether you're making the right decision or not. You are firm and confident in your decisions. There's also a piece of that confidence that comes with being able to be your authentic self, which helps with your self-esteem, which then also helps build your productivity at work because you're confident in what you're doing. You're not questioning your abilities. You're not worried that someone's gonna figure you out. That imposter syndrome just goes away because you are who you are and you're not hiding it from anyone, and you are proud of who you are, and your work shows because of that confidence and that motivation to do the work that speaks to your core being. Plus, authenticity just helps to build connections with the people that you work with. We are not meant to be working in silos. Even if you have a very individual type of job, I can guarantee that there are other people that you rely on for one thing or another. And so when you are able to be your authentic self, you build a connection, you build trust with another human. You also open up the opportunity for them to be themselves, which just creates a more vibrant environment and an opportunity for relationships to grow, for trust to flourish, and for amazing things to happen. So when you think about it, authenticity isn't just about fulfilling kind of a need for you, and for to be yourself and find a career that is fulfilling, but it's also about being an awesome employee and being that rock star that you know you are at work, but also in your life. It also helps you with the challenging times when they do arise because you are not worried about kind of putting on the hat as one person and then taking off that hat and putting on a new hat at work. You're able to blend your whole being into one, and you're not having to kind of play different parts depending on the scene that you're in. Now, we can't talk about authenticity without also talking about the harder stuff. We know life is messy and we are not perfect, and to chase perfection is a lost cause. And as you're trying to chase perfection and live up to a certain standard that either you've created in your head or society has created for you, that's only going to leave you exhausted, burnt out, and just wiped out. But being authentic and being true to our, core selves also means that we need to embrace the hot mess pieces of us as well. Not only do we need to celebrate and recognize and live up to our strengths, but we also need to recognize, acknowledge, and address in some way, shape, or form our weaknesses and our hot mess moments. It's about being true to ourselves and showing up in those hard times, no matter how difficult that can be. When you are confident and know who you are, you're better able to show up fully. Um, and that means showing up for the good and the bad. But that is what brings authenticity to life at work. Because when you do start to live authentically with the work that you're doing as to like the alignment that who you are, you're meeting your own expectations while also meeting the expectations of others. And it's tough, right, to find that balance between knowing who you are and the values that you hold, and also understanding the pressures that may exist or the expectations that may be had of others, um, or society that pushes us to be someone that we're not. And it takes courage to show up as who you are, and it takes courage to embrace the hot success pieces of you and the hot mess pieces of you. But that courage, once again, builds an environment that allows for personal development and professional growth to flourish, because you need to recognize the good, bad, and ugly pieces of you to know the progress that you need to make in the future. And having that environment where you are showing up authentically opens the door once again for others to do the same. All right, so let's kind of get into some practical things that you can do to start living a little bit more authentically at work, and to bring a little bit more authenticity into your professional life. The first thing you need to do is to really take an inventory of your own personal values. So take time, do some reflecting to think about what are your core values and what are the strengths that you bring to the table. What passions do you have? What kind of principles are most important to you? Write all of those down. Then you're probably going to want to, after you do that brain dump, kind of narrow it down a little bit, but then you have an idea of, okay, this is who I am. This is kind of the framework that I am bringing to my work. And this is how I want to be aligned, both personally and professionally. And once you have that kind of known, once you kind of have that down pat, then it's so important to actually share those goals, those values, those passions that you have with others. Authenticity is vulnerability. So you can't just kind of keep your core values and aspirations and all that to yourself and live and work with authenticity. You have to share those with others, because that helps them recognize why you do the things that you do. But it also helps them hold you accountable to being true to yourself, which is very important in this process, because without that support network, we're just kind of left alone floundering. And we've already kind of discussed how we do not live or work in a silo. And it's very important to have a supportive network around you to help you live more authentically. And this is also where boundaries come into play as well, because it's easier to set boundaries around your values, your principles, when others know what those values and principles are. They're not just some rogue boundary that you're putting up, but they know that it comes from kind of a central core to who you are. And it's also important because you can't just set a boundary and expect everyone to know what that boundary is without telling them. And so that's where that communication piece comes into play again, because you've got to communicate your boundaries clearly, and consistently as well. We know that there are boundary breakers out there that you can't just tell them one time about your boundary. You really need to consistently keep that boundary and communicate that boundary to others. So, by putting these small steps into play, you're not just talking about authenticity, you are living it. And you are going to find yourself feeling more fulfilled in your career and your personal life because you are more confident in who you are. Others know who you are, and there is no question about it. And you have created healthy boundaries around what is important to you. But we know authenticity isn't just a walk in the park. It is something that takes time and takes a lot of work. But when you do focus on creating that environment of authenticity, you create a productive environment, one where people feel valued and heard and seen, which is so important when it comes to getting work done and being a high achiever. Well, that's all I have for you this week. And just know that I really do appreciate you being here and hanging out with me. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you would share it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this every single week. Here's to another week filled with more hot successes than hot messes. I'll see you next week, y'all.